Alex here. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I take this old door and use it to improve my workspace. Here's a before, and here's the after. I just mounted the door underneath my workbench. So I started off by cleaning off my work surface because I'm going to be using this desktop as my final product. I went around my garage and looked for something I could use. In this case, I found an old bifolding door. It's been sitting there for a couple months. Bring it down to my shop studio where I start to take it apart. It was just 3 hinges that had a couple screws and nothing too complicated. And I didn't mind that it was a very rough door because, well, my workbench is pretty rough. Here I am taking apart the desk surface because I'm going to put that over top. And then I put the old bifolding door on top just to see what it looks like. So for this next step of prototyping, you want to make sure that what you're building, your rough draft, is going to work for you. So for me, before I screw anything together, before I really make a final decision on what I want, I sit down and see my body positioning. So right now, for me, this doesn't work. It doesn't really work as a stand-up desk. This is the chair that I use to work in, and it's fine for what I need. So I gotta adjust it a bit. And so what I'm thinking is that I want to take this door and mount it down below. So it's a little lower than the desk, kind of reduces the eye sight, the eye line for it. And I don't have to bring up my desk surface because it'll be underneath, which, you know, if I would decide to keep this right now, I'd have to cut all my legs down a little bit to get it back down to height, and I don't really want to do that. I'm trying to keep this project as basic as possible. So what I want to do is take this old door and mount it underneath. But you see, the problem is that the door is too wide. And so one of the solutions I could do is that I could take it and run it through the table saw and cut a little bit off here and a little bit off here. I don't really want to do that. The other option is that I just cut a little groove out of the door so that way it fits right here. And all I need to do is determine how wide of a shelf I want on either side. So I went ahead and put the desktop back on with the door underneath, and I'll slide it back and forth to figure out how much I want on either side. So now I'll put a bunch of my stuff on the extensions and see how I like it. And if I'm happy with it, then I'll make sure that I take my measurements so that they're the same on the front and the back, and then you make your marks. And then I'll transfer the width of this onto here, and then I'll make a small cut in here so that way it fits. So now I'm going to measure the door. So that's 17 3/4. And then I'll measure the inside here at 17. So 3/4 divided by 2, whatever that is. And then I'll take that half measurement off of each little piece to make a notch. That way it fits in properly. So I decided to just simplify it and make it 1 inch instead of 3/4. And then that way I need 1/2 inch on either side taken off for my notch. And now I'm just going to continue my lines across so I know where to cut. And I'm doing it freehand here, but normally you would use a square. But since it's just a shitty old door, I don't care. Here I'm using a Japanese pole saw to make a really nice clean cut. And then I'll use an X-Acto knife or a utility knife to make a score cut on the veneer and helps break off the piece very easily. Now if I'm lucky, when I put this in here, line it up, so my measurements are off just a little bit. I didn't leave enough tolerance in here, so it just needs a little bit of persuasion. Now that I have the shelf in place, I'm just going to put a couple of long screws in there to hold it up. The whole point of the video is to show you that you don't always need new materials to make improvements on something you already own. Maybe your priorities are functionality and budget, and so it might not be the prettiest thing, but as long as it meets your needs, that's all that matters. Take a chance, build something. If it doesn't look good, well, it was garbage to begin with and you could just throw it away again. So if you like this video, please consider subscribing. I'd love to make some more, and if there's interest in it, well, it makes it a little bit more fun for me. I like to make videos, and this is a perfect opportunity for it. So see you next time.